40 days of shutdown. The United States industry is losing more than $2 billion a day. AIM. It's never enough for them. The goal is to harm capitalism. The goal is to make Americans nervous under Trump. And, well, the worse it is, the better. Even if their own children, the Democrats, even if they themselves are suffering, but if Trump is suffering too, then it means we'll stab ourselves in the side with a fork or shoot ourselves in both feet with gunpowder mixed with salt.
Ladies and gentlemen, today is officially the 40th day of the ongoing government shutdown.
And I'll tell you, we've just received new information that is essentially the final nail in the coffin for Chuck Schumer and the Democrats.
Why do I say that the shutdown was caused by the Democrats? After all, they say it's Trump's shutdown.
Now, as many of you know, over the past 40 days, the Senate has voted 15 times to try to reopen the government. And each time, 52 Republicans voted in favor, while only 3 out of 47 Democratic senators voted with them. And considering that it takes 60 votes to reopen the government, that's why everyone is now saying this is the Democrats' shutdown, actually Schumer's shutdown, because that's what it is.
40 days have passed, and the long-term consequences of the government shutdown have started to show. Along with that, the shutdown of part of the country.
We saw the impact on the economy from day one, but it's getting worse and worse. We had a fantastic economy under President Trump in the last 2 quarters, and now there are estimates that economic growth this quarter could be cut in half if the shutdown continues.
Clearly, yes, the Democrats, so they needed to stop Trump at any cost. Things were starting to get too good under the fascist. So a scoundrel, a parasite, what is he? Usually, yeah, killers, illegals don't come to them. More than 25 million of them have already been caught and removed from our streets. A huge number of them were criminals. Businesses simply started hiring people. 100,000 officials were fired. DOZH programs found billions. Embezzlement turned into fraud and horror. Life got back on track after the blessed president nicknamed Sleepy Joe.
They decided that their best chance to win the midterm elections in a year was to keep the government shut down for the next 12 months. To try to blame President Trump for this situation and have a reason to complain during the election campaign. Fortunately, the Trump administration is taking this situation extremely seriously. Look,
what we're not going to do is what happened under the Biden administration when, the administration and the media deceived everyone and said, oh, this is the Biden session. You don't realize how good you had it. And what happened then? We had the worst inflation in 40 or 50 years, 22, 23%, but the basket of goods and services for working Americans increased by more than 30%. And what we see is that we had to stop the growth first. Now we're starting to see that prices are stabilizing and going down. Gas prices have gone down, interest rates have decreased, so mortgages are getting cheaper, and I think we're making significant progress in this. I believe prices will decrease in the coming months and next year.
It was urgently necessary to make life hard for Americans again. As we've said, the worse things get for America, the better it is for the Democrats. So, what was happening before the shutdown that made the Democratic Party panic?
President Trump was truly working wonders to fix our economy. Inflation and energy prices were low, job creation peaked, the stock market boomed, and housing prices fell. Indeed, the list just goes on and on. And remember, all of this even after he inherited the worst United States economy since the Great Depression, thanks to none other than Joe Biden and the Democrats. Unfortunately, after 40 days, this Democrat-created shutdown is taking a toll on the United States economy. Look,
we need to open this government. Goldman Sachs, with its top economic team, estimates we've already cut gross domestic product by about 1.5%. I think that number is probably underestimated if we continue for another couple of weeks, because there will be a huge amount of disruptions in air travel, especially during the holidays. Sometimes when discussing the economy, we mention seasonal adjustments and similar topics. But the fact is, this Thanksgiving period is one of the busiest times of the year for the economy. It's, Black Friday. And if people don't travel at this time, then we could really face a negative quarter in the fourth quarter.
So, friends, what he just said at the end is really incredibly important. He said that if Schumer's shutdown doesn't end, we could have negative economic growth in the fourth quarter of 2025.
What does Schumer and his other Democrat fellows want? He wants us to pay for the medical care of 20 million illegals that they brought into our country. Like your money or your life.
Well, all right. Well, this melodrama with the shutdown continues. I love the smell of melodrama in the morning. Smells like the United States Senate. Thank you. I said the other day that this shutdown is just another proof that human evolution is a slow process. This shutdown, what you're witnessing right now, is just another proof of why it took humans thousands of years to learn to stand upright. Paul?
In my opinion, Senator Kennedy is very funny, and he's precise in his words and definitions.
This shutdown is bone deep. It's stupid. Some shutdowns are based on politics. Some shutdowns are based on a combination of both factors. This is pure. It's pure as ivory. This shutdown is based on politics. Let me tell you what's going on. I believe in the two-party system, Mr. President. I believe in it. Why? Because two parties create competition, and competition makes us all better. Yes, it does. The Democratic Party, which is the opposite of my party, the Republican Party, the Democratic Party is now competing with itself, and there is a certain wing of the Democratic Party that is winning this competition. If I wanted to use a derogatory term, I would call it the crazy wing of the party.
How much I agree with him, ladies and gentlemen. Well, he just stole from me, repeated my words. I actually called them goat fools, idiots. He called them crazy, which is also nice. Crazy goat fools. It really sounds good, yes, crazy goat fools.
The lunatic faction of the Democratic Party, or as you could call it, the Bolshevik faction of the Democratic Party. I think a more accurate description would be to call it the socialist wing of the Democratic Party. I think that's fair. Now, I'm not saying that all my Democrat friends are socialists. But there is clearly a wing in the Democratic Party that can accurately be described as the socialist wing of the party. And that wing is gaining strength. That wing is in control. Now, my friend, Senator Schumer is the leader of the Democrats in the United States Senate. And of course, he instructed his colleagues to vote for the government shutdown. And Senator Schumer was criticized for that. And I understand him. I don't agree with him. I think he made a mistake, but I don't think Senator Schumer is the leader of this effort. I don't think so. I think Senator Schumer, like many of his colleagues, would like to be loved by everyone in the party, and he would like to be loved by the socialist wing of his party. And I really think that's part of what motivates this whole stoppage. And that's why I say it's all about politics. But I don't think Senator Schumer is responsible for this, because Senator Schumer is not the leader of the socialist wing of his party.
Listen, gentlemen, listen. He knows what he's talking about, and he's good at explaining things clearly. It's important to understand that. This is the psychology of confrontation. This is what has already cost the states $90 billion. Some will return, but some is lost forever. Because of their psychology and internal games, they have a power struggle, while we have a sharp decline in our quality of life.
Well, they really don't care about our problems. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, she's the one running everything. That wasn't accidental. The other day, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez let it slip. She said, if you really want to negotiate ending this shutdown, come to me, come to me. And I think that any reasonable person should look at this now and say, what? Two leading members, Kvaterbeck, two leading members. A member of the socialist wing of the Democratic Party, Kvaterbeck, is Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. Now, her deputy is Senator Bernie Sanders. But I think it's the Congresswoman who makes the decision. Now, Mr. President, I don't hate anyone. I've said this repeatedly, and I truly mean it. I, like all my colleagues, I seek grace wherever I can find it. When I pray, I do it every time. I ask God, don't let me hate, because sometimes it's hard. It's hard here, but I say, God, don't let me hate, and I don't hate. I definitely don't hate. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, I want to be clear. I want to say she has the right to her opinion. She has the right to try to have the socialists take over the Democratic Party. That's American. Ironically, I think what she's doing is anti-American, but she has the right as an American to do it. So I don't hate her, but I judge her by her politics. She has her opinion, and I have mine. And I have to be honest, to judge her by her politics. This is what the socialist wing of the Democratic Party, led by Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, said to the American people, the United States Congress, and the Republicans in Congress. If you, Republicans, do not agree to make the federal government $1.5 trillion bigger, not millions of dollars, not billions of dollars, but $1.5 trillion more, we will shut down the government.
Let me clarify. The Democrats brought an amendment to the budget, but the budget itself was drafted back during Biden's time, and they've already voted several times for its continuation. And now they've brought, let's say, an addendum for a small amount, $1.5 trillion. They said, take them from wherever you want, but until you give them to us, for our programs, the money goes directly into the pocket, meaning program funds flow there. Naturally, yes, then we'll make the whole country neighbor lap. And we don't care about those who are without work and without a salary, because we still get our salaries anyway, either directly or through a crooked way from previously stolen money. And let the planes not fly, and let the houses not be built, and let people have nothing to eat. So let us, what do we, want? Or we'll shut down your, excuse my French, damn Democratic Republic. And we won't even try to build anything on the ruins. We'll just take the money and leave for another country.
T-O-S-O-M-A-L-I, well, of course, we said no. I'm not going to vote for that. My mom didn't raise a fool, and like I said, if she did, it was one of my brothers. I will never vote for that. Now, where did I get that figure of $1.5 trillion? Well, the first thing the socialists and Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez are asking us to do is to repeal the healthcare reforms. Law enforcement in one big, beautiful bill. We just passed them.
In other words, if you don't repeal the law that just passed both houses of Congress and got the president's signature, then we'll shut the country down.
Open the government, and then we can discuss it. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's really that simple. But now, at this point, I'm sure many of you already guess what I'm going to say next. The truth is, this shutdown, created entirely by the Democrats, can be ended immediately, and we can save our country forever. Right now, at this very moment, if the Republicans in the Senate dare to cross the Rubicon, or more precisely to cross the Delaware and actually use the nuclear option.
In the ultimatum of the socialist fascists of the United States of America, there are demands. Demands with threats, by the way. So if you don't let us steal, we'll destroy everything you have. I'm not joking. Listen, this is just insane.
And really, to activate the nuclear option, which is exactly what President Trump kept telling all those Republican senators to do, it's time to use the nuclear option.
So they're demanding to be given, just like that, to be given $140 billion, but not all at once. Thanks for spreading it out over 10 years instead of all at once. So that's $14 billion every year of our stolen money. So why? What's the reason? Just so they would allow the state to function, nothing more. Caption. It's like you're driving down a wide, big road, and a group of friendly, smiling bandits stops you and says, "Pay up or you won't go anywhere." The situation is absolutely the same, but the difference is as follows. Instead of a pair of earrings, some rings, and a certain amount of cash, they want $140 billion of our money, or else, well, what I said, your wallet or the death of your economy, to be continued. The Democrats have two problems. I'm serious. One is that Obamacare, the one they talked about, actually exists. The cheapest and best way, to provide health care and medical care for our population. It will help each family save $2,500 a year, but that's based on a family of 4, according to their calculation. So it will also improve medical care. On the contrary, as it turned out, it costs $2,500 more per year. So they were right. Indeed, $2,500 more, not less. Yes, like Rabinovich, it wasn't football but preference, and he lost. So it means it costs them more than before. $2,500 made the service worse and brought in tens of billions of dollars in profit. To whom? To the insurance companies who actually put in most of the money. Well, unions, especially teachers' unions and insurance companies, these are the main groups that support the Democrats today. So they can't give up on Obamacare. So that's practically the only positive good thing that Obama managed to accomplish. Everything else was even worse. But this program requires huge subsidies. Besides the fact that people pay more, the government also takes money from us and keeps adding and adding and adding. Moreover, the stocks of medical insurance companies have increased on average from 400 to 1,200% since the adoption of Obamacare. So do you know who actually benefits from this? And the Republicans just don't want to, as they say, throw dollars into the fire. Strange, isn't it? So the second thing, the first was about Obamacare. The second is that Trump fired about 100,000 people. First, bureaucrats. 100% of whom are Democrat activists. That is, they give them money, vote for them, and in every way hinder things so that any reforms could be carried out. So they're like Komsomol activists, I would even say yes. So Schumer and his group demanded these $1.5 trillion, and then they gave up on that $1.5 trillion. They said, fine, subsidies for health care, those $140 billion I mentioned, and immediately return the workers to work. They had other demands too, but those were the main ones. Trump said he's ready to rehire the fired workers, but that's it. So, nothing else, meaning, out of your demands, we won't be meeting any others. That is, everything the Democrats demanded and wanted at the start of the shutdown will remain as it was before. They are not getting anything they demanded. The only thing is that the Republicans are ready to bring people back to work. So, well, that's what they did after announcing the shutdown, and they laid off, as I already said, about 100,000 people. It seems the Democrats gave up. If they don't fire them today, they'll do it tomorrow. That's it. Like Putin in Ukraine, they need at least some kind of victory so they don't look like complete idiots. Trump will reinstate those he fired, and for now, he won't fire anyone else. The key is for now. Oh, really?
We have breaking news from Capitol Hill, where it appears an agreement has been reached in the Senate that could soon end the 40-day government shutdown. If approved, this temporary measure would fund the government and reopen it through January.
Live from the Capitol, the Senate may vote tonight. Approval requires 60 votes. At least one source in the Senate tells us that enough Democrats support the plan. The deal will not extend Obamacare subsidies, which was a sticking point for the Democrats, but it will schedule a separate vote on this issue in December. It will also include the reversal of any layoffs that happened by order of President Trump during the government shutdown and will prevent similar layoffs in the future.
If the bill advances, the Senate will consider amendments, which may take days. If it passes, it will still need approval in the House of Representatives afterward. This means House members must be called back to vote on the bill. On Friday, Democrats' bid to reopen the government for a year-long Obamacare subsidy extension failed.
This was an acknowledgement by the mouthpiece of the Democratic Party, that is the American Broadcasting Company television network. The Democrats' attempt failed. It failed. So poor, but very rich. Democrats.
Republicans are not going to further burden taxpayers by blindly extending an imperfect program. The Democrats' proposal is just more of the same, hiding premium increases and boosting insurance company profits at the taxpayers' expense. The Democratic leader's proposal is a dead-end option.
Gentlemen, this is obvious. It's right on the surface. And now... On the evening of November 4th, the President and Vice President Vance said, "America, we heard you. Loud and clear. Our fellow citizens want us to focus on our own country, not on other countries, because our country, our people, our problems are what matter most." And today, this Sunday, Trump showed that, yes, he is back. From reconciling foreign nations to solving our own domestic problems.
You know what? To hell with dancing around these foreign countries, meeting with allies in Asia and the Middle East, making trade deals. All of that is secondary compared to my domestic mission. And so, old Trump comes back announcing a $2,000 cash payment for every low-income American citizen, effective immediately, along with 4 other politicians who are working for your benefit.
The United States of America has received hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs for importing goods here to us. This has slowed down the decrease in inflation, and Trump said that to those who were affected by it. We are sending money to completely relieve you from the stress caused by our fight for fair trade with other countries. Everyone who was affected for whom this turned out to be a burden will receive $2,000 from the collected tariffs. This killed Democrat completely. Their only weapon was that Trump, with his tariffs and games with other countries, with foreign nations, made your financial situation worse. Which isn't entirely true, but people said, yes, inflation didn't stop. Now it doesn't work anymore. People now will get what he sends more than what they lost.
Deficit. Is there any update on your previous discussion about the possibility of providing Americans with a tariff rebate check? We have plenty of money coming in and a rebate check. President Trump announced this morning that almost all American citizens, except for the wealthy, will receive a dividend payment from the tariffs, a check for at least $2,000 funded by the hundreds of billions collected through his reciprocal tariff policy.
I was wrong. It's at least $2,000, just as I said. This depends on the standard of living and family size. This is a huge help for those for whom rising prices on necessities is a very painful process. Here's what Trump writes.
People who are against tariffs are fools. Right now, we are the richest and most respected country in the world with almost zero inflation and a record stock market. Retirement accounts are at their highest level ever. We are receiving trillions of dollars, and soon we will start paying off our huge $37 trillion debt. Record investments are coming into the United States, and plants and factories are being built everywhere. A dividend of at least $2,000 per person, not including high-income individuals, will be paid to everyone. Trump also stated that after this dividend payment from tariffs, the tariffs will start to pay down the national debt as was originally promised. All this panic about tariffs over the past 9 months misses the point. Trump's tariffs have increased the United States government's revenues. Look at this. For the first time in 100 years in a century, the United States government is receiving revenues without taxing its own citizens. Tariffs, my friends, aren't a tax. The Democrats can say this as much as they want, but that doesn't make it true. They're wrong. You don't have to buy that Italian sports car, right? You can choose to buy a Ford made in Michigan. It's not a tax. Cryptocurrency markets are already responding positively to the potential influx of new monetary stimulus reaching people's hands. In the same way, I'm sure gold will also respond positively as soon as the markets open.
When people get money, well, some of it gets invested in something, and the crypto market reacted immediately. Remember, I told you that I was happy that Mamdani and 2 Democratic governors won the elections? Thank you. I said it back then, it's like a fever in a sick person. Well, it's a signal that you need to look for the cause and start treating it, and rush to treat it.
Is on a tear? On a roll. Realizing what happened 5 days ago, that November 4th was a warning sign. Stop focusing on adventures abroad. Stopping wars is great. Meetings with Asian and Middle Eastern allies. Yes, we get it. That's part of a president's job. Signing trade deals, it's all part of the overall economic and foreign policy picture. But Americans, especially young Americans, are impatient. They want change, and they want it now. Now, the 2026 midterm election cycle will be focused on affordability. Clearly understanding this point, along with the new dividend checks, Trump is instructing the Federal Housing Agency to introduce 50-year mortgages to help young people afford to buy homes. These checks are $2,000 in the form of stimulus payments or dividends from tariffs. They also propose to completely repeal Obamacare and instead direct hundreds of billions of dollars directly to you, the American people, so that you can buy yourself good health care. You take the money and decide which policy from which company you want to buy. No more federal taxes going directly to insurance companies. Trump posted this on Truth Social on Friday. And then again and again this weekend that the insurance industrial complex should not get any more federal tax dollars. That since the introduction of Obamacare, the stocks of these giant insurance companies have risen from 400 to 1,200%. Look at this chart, friends. Each column here is another giant insurance company. United Health, 1,200% Cigna stocks, 800% Anthem, 400% thanks to Obamacare, Molina, 900% thanks to Obamacare, Aetna, 600%. This is the real reason why the Democrats are fighting so hard to prevent the expiration of the pandemic-era Affordable Care Act subsidies. It's interesting, the same insurance companies that fund the Democrats' political campaigns and pay for advertising space on all the major media networks, it's a scam. Friends, Senator John Barrasso sheds even more light on this, saying that Chuck Schumer did this, he shut down the government, he closed the government not for the American people, but for his donors, for the giant insurance industrial complex. Look at what he said.
Mr. President, yesterday Chuck Schumer, the minority leader in the United States Senate, took the podium with yet another ransom demand. It was never truly meant to succeed. Senator Schumer is demanding that the United States government send a check directly to America's insurance companies for tens and tens and tens of billions of dollars straight from the government directly to the insurance companies' bank accounts. to be continued. Chuck Schumer is actually cutting people, the American people, the taxpayers, out of the process.
Then Trump wrote about it again last night, using capital letters. No more, no money. Hundreds of billions of dollars for insurance companies backed by the Democrats for the very bad Obamacare. The money should now go directly to the people, cutting out the fat insurance companies and corrupt healthcare systems. People can buy themselves a much better policy for much less money, saving a fortune for themselves. President Donald Trump. Then, again this morning, several posts on Truth Social calling to pay people, not insurance companies. Obviously, he's not joking anymore. Most people don't take the presidency for granted. He has limited time, friends, to do this. To do as much as possible, putting more money into Americans' hands, making America affordable again. Next year will be dedicated to this, because if the Democrats win the midterm elections, Trump and his agenda will fail. Nothing will get done. And he knows it. He experienced it. He experienced what it was like in 2018. Yesterday we said that Trump needs a win, and a big one. Well, he's about to get a decisive victory because the Democrats are ready to make a deal and agree to fund the government. We're hearing that there's been a breakthrough in the Senate on the government shutdown issue. Axios reports that at least 10 Democratic senators are expected to support a procedural vote to advance the package of spending bills in the short-term funding measure, according to Axios. As you know, this is an extremely left-leaning publication, and in this article, they admit that the Democrats are ready to give in, to surrender. So,
the Democrats are in a panic. 10 Democratic senators realized that their voters would hang them from the trees if, after Trump's checks and the orders regarding medicine, which are related to receiving payments directly, not to medical companies, not to insurance companies, if they continue to keep the government shut down. Well, exactly, absolutely. They'll be strung up on the nearest trees, and it looks like they've given up. I'll say it again. Forewarned is forearmed. Trump and the White House are no longer paying as much attention to international affairs as they used to, and are focusing on domestic issues. This doesn't mean that Russia won't be under pressure. It doesn't mean that Trump is stepping away completely. As they say, I won't act. Yes, this means that neither Ukraine nor Israel will receive as much attention and assistance as they did in the first months of Trump 47's. As for Israel, I think the Jews will manage. Maybe, by the way, it will even be better for them if they're left alone for some time. As for Ukraine, maybe it will also be good for them to realize that Uncle won't come to protect them. For Russia, the understanding that income from oil and gas will decrease every day will lead to the end of the slaughter and thousands, or I would even say hundreds of thousands of deaths. And for America, that's wonderful, wonderful. Trump was elected president of the United States by us, not of the world. And he, fully realizing that if he doesn't focus on our country, he could lose Congress, and with it his freedom and control of the country, he will do everything possible to ensure that we live a peaceful, better life and look optimistically into our future. A group of immigrants from Eastern European countries has created a video training project that will help fill the gaps in the knowledge of American youth, in their historical education, I would say, and will teach them critical thinking to analyze the promises of politicians and propagandists. The project is ready, and we are starting to look for organizations like Turning Point United States of America. Yes, that work with young people. The project is in English, of course, to offer them to conduct such a short course with their youth groups from 16, maybe up to 20 years old, maybe 16 to 25 years old. And if you want to take part in an interesting and important cause, we are all volunteers. It's not about making money. It's about something important for all of us and our children. So if you can, please let us know your name and your, let's say, email. And below, where we all write, that's where our reviews and our comments go. Yes, and we will get in touch and explain what exactly is required from you for the home measurement, like how to use emails, send them, receive them, and so on and so forth, and basic knowledge of English. Plus 30 to 45 minutes a day and probably an hour on Sunday, when we all get together online, of course, and discuss our matters. Thanks in advance to everyone who responds, and until next time.